It was a divisional showdown between the Eagles and Cowboys. What are your thoughts about this game? As we know, the Eagles beat the Cowboys. It was actually came pretty close in the second half, but it was ended up being 26-17. K-Walk, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned it because I was actually going to lead off with the second half as far as this game goes. I think that's where there's a problem with Philly right now. They have to start their second half performance has not been up to par. And I think if they find that right team or the wrong team, depending on how you want to look at it, they could be in trouble. They have to finish games. They really do. They got up. They did the same thing against Jacksonville. They did the same thing against I forget what they think Detroit as well. They can't continue to not play in the second half. They had to start the second half the same way they finished the first half. But overall, they found a way to get it done. That defense is performing well. Jalen Hurts obviously is doing a great job in leading his team. AJ Brown is back, man. I mean, wow, what a game from him and that offensive line as well. But overall, man, I mean, what can you say, man? I just sat back and watched this game and just listen to the Eagles fans and the Cowboys fans just go back. Sometimes the fandom banter is more exciting than the game itself. But nonetheless, man, hats off to the Eagles for sure. Game that I think they definitely needed to win to solidify the talk of them being one of the best, if not the best team in the NFL.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I agree with you. The second half, we've been having rough third quarters. It's something about the third quarters. But I will say is when they get in trouble, they go back to their identity, which is running and pounding the football. And no team, everybody knows, everybody in the stadium, everybody in the world that was watching knew they were going to run the ball. And the Cowboys or any other team for that matter have yet to be able to stop it or show they could stop it. But Jay, what are your thoughts about the game?
Look, this is an interesting one for me. I got to be real careful, K Walk, with what I say because I know Brittany's watching me and she's just waiting for me to say something about the Eagles so she can kick me off that bandwagon, K Walk. But for me, it was tough, K Walk, because the Eagles, they're my main team. But the Cowboys, they're kind of like my side chick. K-Walk.
Hey, whoa.
Now who's in the streets now?
No.
They really are, K-Walks. It was kind of like watching
Eagles card revoked.
Watching two teams that you care for go at it, K-Walk. But
wow.
But nevertheless, look, I think you got to
start caring about the Cowboys.
You got to give the Eagles a lot of credit for the way they started the game, the way they played the game. In the first half, it looked like they were clearly the better football team, all sides of the ball. But I'll tell you what, man, after that game was over, I got a text from one of my brothers. He said, if Dak Prescott was a starting quarterback in that game, the Cowboys might have won that football game. And it was just very interesting because even though the Eagles got out of there with the win, I felt like the Cowboys did do some good things in that second half to make the game interesting. So I don't know, like if you're an Eagles fan, obviously you come out of there, you feel really happy with the win. But I think the way that second half went, it also gave the Cowboys and Cowboys fans hope that, know what, this team isn't that much better than we are if we've got all of our pieces out there on the field. So great win for Eagles, great win for our Eagles, Britt. But I think some of the Cowboys and Cowboys fans walked out of there with some confidence as well after that game.
No, they didn't. They was angry as I don't know what. Did you not see that tackle on Jason Kelsey?
I'm telling you, Britt, the Eagles had a chance to really put their foot on the Cowboys' neck, and they didn't do it.
But here's the thing. What has the Eagles done the entire season thus far? They get a big lead, and then they back off. They did the same thing this game, the same exact thing. So, and it's always going to be a close game because it's a divisional matchup. I'm not expecting for these games to be blowout games. They know each other very, very well. But I keep hearing how Cowboys, if Dak was in, they would have played a completely different defense. And we are well aware of that. You don't play the same defense that you will against Cooper Rush, the same exact way against Cooper Rush that you will Dak Prescott. You're not going to play the same defense.
Yeah, that's true. That's
look,
true.
I like Dallas's defensive front. with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus
Sure.
Lawrence. But let's be real. In that first half, they couldn't do anything, nothing.
True.
And yeah, Dallas made the necessary adjustments. Unfortunately, the Eagles did not, and that's when they came back. But not for 1 second was I ever worried, because I said to myself, first of all, this is what they do. They start backing off, But once they go back to their identity, which is pounding the rock, and that's exactly what they did, Dallas won't be able to stop them. And that's when Trayvon Diggs throws his helmet down and gets a stupid penalty. That's when the guy tackles Jason Kelsey. Be more mature about it. So, yes, right now, the Eagles are a better team with or without Dak as of right now.
But I do think, to K Walk's point, I do think the Eagles, you got to be careful. I mean, you say backing off, if that's what they're doing, fine, or just not playing a complete game, however you want to phrase it. But you got to be careful with that part of it, because a good team will get you if you can't put 4 good quarters together. So I do think Philly has to be careful about not finishing games or getting too conservative when they have a lead or something like that, because in the NFL, you're never really out of it. It only takes a few things to happen to let other teams back in the game. And I thought, especially because it was a division game, I would have liked to see Philly really put the knockout punch on the Cowboys and leave no doubt. And I just didn't feel like they did that. So that would be my only thing, watching from a Philly perspective. I wanted to see them knock the Cowboys out, and they really didn't do it.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying with those 2 games that stick out for me with the Eagles, or the Lions game when they were up and the Lions came back, and if it wasn't for that Slay interception, that pick 6, it could be a different outcome. We're talking about a 5-1 Eagles team right now, and also the Jags started off with, I think they went up 14-0 on the Eagles. Like, my point is that the Philadelphia Eagles are not putting, to Jay's point as well, is that they're not putting a full game together. And, I know it's the age-old saying, it's not how you start, it's not how you finish. I mean, it's how you finish. But the fact of the matter is, they're not playing a great all-around game. And sometimes that is going to come back to bite you. And you know what? And they got to be careful with that. They got to be careful with that. You guys mentioned it in our thread that, they have to clean up some things. They have to clean up some things. And that's the thing that they have to do. When they get on someone and they put that foot on the gas and they're taking it all the way, they have to continue to keep that foot on the gas. Is my point.
But here's the thing: it's week 6. They have time to turn around. They're going into a bye game. But what team thus far has played a complete game? The Dallas Cowboys have it.
Right. But at this point,
the 49ers have it. No team has it yet.
Right,
so
but
right
at this
now,
point, it's week 6. So we're talking about, we're a third away into the season. So you're starting to realize some of these teams are who they are. If you're 6-0, you're a good team. Maybe you can clean up some stuff to be better. If you're a 1-5 team, whatever the case may be. But at the same point, the Eagles are not consistent. They don't play a full game, and that can come back to bite them in their tail. I'm not saying I disagree.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, first of all, give them credit for winning the game, because the Cowboys, regardless if they have Dak or not, is still a tough team, right? So that's the one thing.
I agree.
They are the better team, regardless.